The X button. Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. Wait, Xbox? It's in the name. Anyway, according to PlayStation, it's the cross button, but we always call it the X button. It seems, makes sense though, because why would we call circle circle but not, anyway, I'm getting off topic. The only issue is with the X button is these companies place the button on different areas, like there's no structure whatsoever. It's really confusing at first. Of course, Nintendo flipped A and B compared to Xbox, but we're not really here to talk about that today. Foreshadowing. I could talk about the X button on keyboards or the dreaded X button on mobile games that they made so small that you end up clicking the... I'm gonna try and stick with console controllers at the moment, OEM stuff, you know, first party. Because we know third-party controllers placements are pretty wild sometimes. Sometimes they even have numbers, which is funny. Now you may be thinking, or be saying, Mickey, why does it matter where the buttons are placed? Well, before I got the muscle memory of a Chad gamer that stays home all day, I was little Timmy. Little Timmy had so much trouble going to his cousin's house and playing PlayStation. Not only was the X button placed differently, but so was every other button. So when doing QTEs, it was pretty much impossible. I'm not gonna lie. These three also did something unthinkable when they flipped the ADS, the grenade button, the fire button, all that stuff for COD versus Xbox, because I was an Xbox gamer back in the day. And that really could... Okay, we're getting off topic again, I'm sorry. But I'm just trying to say all this to kind of prove a point that without any sort of order, without any sort of structure, the idea of playing these games in harmony across systems is nigh impossible. You can't do it. You just can't play these games without the knowledge of a Chad gamer. So if you're just a little Timmy trying to learn, you're gonna have a hard time. Nintendo, to me though, is definitely the worst offender in this phenomenon. So their own controllers even place things differently across console generations, like with the GameCube, for example. The GameCube and the SNES controller designs had the X button, diagonal, top right, and this abomination has two X buttons, but the classic controller, Switch, Pro, stuff like that, etc. It's on the top. The X button on the top is such a throw. Like, it confuses you because that's where Y is for my Xbox friends, you know? It just looks kind of gross. Not to mention the Wiimote, but later, I'm gonna talk about that later. So the thing that's just crazy to me though as well with Nintendo is PlayStation were supposed to work with Nintendo to drop the PS1 together. I was supposed to be an CD add-on, but that didn't really work out. That never happened. Nintendo denied it. No, it is what it is. I say this just to say we had one less headache to deal with. If this would have went through, we'd have had one controller, not two separate controllers with this confusion. So let me lay this out for you, because I haven't done it yet somehow. Xbox is to the left, PlayStation, cross, is on the bottom, Nintendo is on the top. Everywhere else, you know, third-party controllers and stuff, it's pretty random, because again, it's not unified whatsoever. And without this unification, without this structure, trying to run away in RE4 became way more complicated. You might actually have to look down at your controller. I can make a whole controller full of X buttons. That's all I'm trying to say. I could mock up this controller. That's a little bit odd. Now, something I do want to talk about the X button as well is, why is it X and Y after A and B? You would think it would be C and D. And I've seen controllers like that, both third party and Neo Geo. Looks pretty wrong though, I can think of a few reasons why we have X and Y, and one of that reasons is math. You know, just variables and whatnot, so that's one thing. Another thing is, well, when you're singing the alphabet, at least back in the day, because I guess kids are apparently taught the alphabet differently now, but back in the day, we would say Y and Z, which would separate the X and Y, so it makes more sense to just kind of XY. Another thing could be is just as simple as someone was like X and Y forehead, and I guess those just stuck. They just, you know, threw a dart at it. They're like X and Y, perfect, and nobody complained. So the first X button is on the SNES controller, from what I found. So who knows? Maybe just some dude was just like, Z and 2. Z looks like a 2, maybe. So they just did X and Y just to not confuse anybody. But the Wiimote, again, here I am coming back to the Wiimote. It has 1 and 2 as their buttons, so who the heck really knows, to be quite honest. I do really want to point out though, I don't get confused that much anymore. I did before when I first got my PC, because Well, sometimes the games don't even have the notations for PlayStation and they only have Xbox notations. So trying to get used to that, especially on an arcade stick, is not the easiest. And if you're emulating a game, let's be real, sometimes it's a little bit confusing, but you do map it yourself, so it's not the hardest. Either way, I do find it quite interesting how I can yap and make a whole video on this topic. So random and so small. So if you're still here, you're watching me yap, type in the comment section that you are a goat. Say, I'm a goat in the comments because you are for sticking here. But I do want to ask, where do you play your games? PC, Xbox, mobile, Switch, PlayStation? Let me know down below in the comments.